We want to build the #1 international baseball league.
Oh, what a catch! Oh, what a catch, baby!
Like I said, I feel blessed.
The pitcher grabbed by Schlitter goes for the force of the plate.
Ground ball, double play, game over.
Wow! This is a money ball, gentlemen, and this. Oh, money ball!
All right, here we go. Back at it with the Baseball United podcast. And I am especially fired up this week. If you've been paying attention, we've shared a ton of major announcements with huge implications on the game of baseball worldwide, including the release of the Arab Classic schedule. Arab Classic tickets are finally on sale. And most importantly, the formation of the first ever UAE national baseball team. And I'm psyched today to be joined by a member of the UAE national baseball team, Mr. Chris Beyers. Chris, it's great to see you, brother. How's everything been going?
Liam, thanks for having me, man. Everything's good over here. Everything's good. We're getting ready for the Arab Classic. Excited to get going.
Yeah, man. So the last time I saw you, it was the last year's showcase in November. So catch me up. What have you been up to since then?
Okay, so personally, I play professionally in Germany. So we just finished the season that side. Just got back to Dubai around 2 weeks ago. Immediately met up with Kash and John and the guys from Baseball United, and just super excited about this whole thing that they're doing. It's awesome.
Right. Chris, how'd the season in Germany go for you?
It went well. So we got second place. So we're runner-up for the German league. Unfortunately for us, it's the third year in a row that we're second. We're hoping to finish first. But hey, you know how baseball is. It doesn't always go your way.
Absolutely. So Chris, I know you were born in South Africa. You moved to Saudi Arabia when you were about 4 years old. What was it like, the baseball culture growing up? I'm assuming you had to have played cricket growing up as well, right?
Yeah. So actually, I played cricket only like when I went to visit family in South Africa. So mainly it was in Saudi baseball because I lived at Aramco, which is a oil base in Dhahran on the east coast of Saudi. And actually there was a lot of like military parents and a lot of Americans, obviously. And I really loved playing baseball there. It was a really strict style, a lot of hard coaching, old school. So I think a lot of the guys that came through the program there went on to play at a very high level. So yeah, I really loved growing up there, you know.
How did you start like kind of getting into baseball at such a young age in that part of the world? Just because baseball is obviously not nearly as big as it is out there as it is, say, in America or Canada, Europe, wherever.
Yeah. So actually in the compound that we live in Aramco, when the time that I grew up there, the school was mainly filled with Americans and Canadians. So the main sports outside of school were like baseball, softball, basketball, so American sports. So it was strange because everywhere I would go, everyone would ask me, how do you play baseball? You're from South Africa, you live in Saudi. How do you play baseball? And then it's a weird thing because the community we grew up in, like baseball is the main sport there, you know? So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Right. So, Chris, am I correct in understanding that you really didn't play baseball from the time you were 17 through the time you were like 22 or so?
Exactly. Yeah. So I went to high school in the U.S. and I didn't work out for me in high school, and I came back to Saudi to finish high school, and then went to South Africa for university. And there's no real baseball there. So I was playing cricket in South Africa from 18 to about 22, just like, just for fun. And then I moved to Dubai to become a personal trainer. And when COVID hit, at some point I just got back into baseball and I started playing again, went to Germany, always had the love.
What drove you to move to Dubai, Chris?
Honestly, it's like, the image of Dubai, I always like that. It's the vibe. You've been here, Liam, so it's a pretty cool place. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Chris, you also got to compete in the Little League World Series for Saudi Arabia in 2007 and 2008. Tell me a little bit about what that experience was like, kind of being on that national stage at such a young age.
Oh, that was incredible. I mean, so we actually went, I think it was like 25 or 23 years in a row, our little league, because the bracket that we went through was like European teams and stuff, and we were just so much stronger than them. We built like a dynasty, I could say. And then we went, so it's like it was known that if you make the team, you'll probably go to the Little League World Series in Pennsylvania when you're in that age. And dude, you get there and it's like you're signing autographs. Like I remember like on Facebook, girls are adding you. Like it was like you're 12 and it's like, it's just unreal. I mean, it's like I would assume, because I haven't played obviously very high level of baseball in the US, that it's close to like the major league level how they would feel, because you're signing autographs. Like it's just, you're treated like a big leaguer. Every player gets a golf cart to drive into the field. Like it's awesome, you know?
That's sweet. I've never played at any kind of high level, so I'm very jealous of that. I think that's super cool. So Chris, when you were playing cricket and transitioned back to baseball, what was the main challenge that you faced transitioning back and be at an elite level?
Yeah, that's a great question. To be honest, I would say, because I'm a hitter, like an infielder, the main thing was in cricket, like the ball bounces, right? So you have to like get your momentum, like you read the ball and depending on where it bounces, you go forward or backwards in your stance. And in baseball, obviously you have to stay back and then rotate through, you know, and you got to keep your way back like as long as possible. And in cricket, it's like kind of opposite. A lot of times you're lunging forward to hit the ball. And I would say that's still a little bit in my swing. You can see sometimes that I've played cricket, which is also an advantage, because a lot of times you're out in front on a curveball and you can still just hook it over the third baseman or whatever. So I've seen also guys, Australians especially, they're also very good at baseball. You saw the #1 overall pick, Australian guy. And I mean, it's just the bat and ball skill that it gives you, cricket, you know?
You also had a little bit of experience playing in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers for South Africa. What did that mean to you to represent your home country?
Well, that was everything, man. That was, I would say for me personally, that was my favorite thing, like so far in my whole life, you know? We got one coming up. I mean, I don't know the official stuff yet, but it's next year from what I hear in Taiwan. And it just, that's, you know, you can imagine how much love you have for your country, and that's, it's just special.
Absolutely. Did you feel any added pressure when you have that South Africa across your chest when you're on the diamond?
Of course, you feel like you're representing, like, you know, your people, and everyone's watching you, so it's special.
Let's shift gears a little bit here, get down to the nitty gritty. The Arab Classic is coming up soon, November 7th through November 10th, and it's going to be played in our very own ballpark. What was your reaction when you first heard that we were building a ballpark in that part of the world?
Unreal. Like, I mean, the fact that they're building a baseball field in just a couple of months, you know, before they announce this tournament, it's unreal. Like, I've been out there to the rugby sevens. We always go watch the sevens there every year. And dude, it's crazy what they're doing. It's unreal, you know?
It's also just such an incredible opportunity for all of these national teams, these federations, to play on the very first professional grade field in the region.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, if you think about it, guys from India, Bangladesh, Palestine, you know, you got Afghanistan. It's crazy the opportunity that they're giving to not just for us to like play on, like in this amazing field in the UAE, but like to get seen, you know, like it's an opportunity for these players to go play in other places, to go play in other countries.
Chris, as someone who grew up in the region and has lived many places around the world, what can you say about the growth of the sport in the region?
So baseball, okay. So in Dubai, I grew up in Saudi, obviously. So Dubai is very close by. Dubai, it has grown a lot. I've seen here, because I've been coaching also here for the past 4 years, that it just keeps increasing the size and the numbers and the parents and the interest. And I mean, I think with Baseball United moving in and these type of tournaments that they're holding, it's only going to get bigger. I mean, it has to, because there's so many expats in the region. There's so many kids that love the sport of baseball. I mean, these kids go crazy. They watch me play in Germany. And I mean, that's a decent level, but it's nothing like in the US, right? And then and then they go crazy. They're just bragging to their friends, and now they have this, you know, in the Middle East. They have a field that they can go to and watch these games, which is just, it's just amazing for them, you know?
I can say firsthand, at last year's showcase, when they announced your name, the crowd went wild. You probably got the biggest pop out of anybody at the showcase. It was awesome to see. What did that mean to you when you felt that crowd reaction?
Oh, that was special, man. I mean, Kash and John came up to me after, and they mentioned that to me, and you know, even some of the other players like Robbie Cano and these guys, they were like, dude, like that was crazy, and I was like, yeah, man, that was truly special. But like I told you, I do coach them, and I'm around there a lot, trying to help out and trying to better the baseball community here.
Yeah, and you were interacting with all the fans, Chris, signing autographs for so many of these little leaguers. What does it mean to you to be a role model to these kids in that region?
It's special, man. I mean, you know, I'm blessed and I'm thankful, but you know, honestly, I just love to see the game grow and to love to see these kids just get better at baseball. You know, that's for me, like growing up there, I know how hard it is for kids that really love the sport to get to the next level, you know, because you're so far away from Japan and the US, right? So I just like my real biggest like goal is to get that bridge between kids, like to get them from here to play professional baseball one day if that's their dream, you know, because I didn't have anyone to do that for me. So that's really like what I'm after. Like the personal stuff is cool and all, but like I just really want to help the kids get to the next level, you know?
What are some of the things you tell these kids, Chris, when they say, I want to grow up to be a professional baseball player like you?
Well, that's a great question because I'm working with a few kids here that are almost at the age to go to college. And I mean, obviously the young kids, I tell them, hey, you just got to put in the work. That's what we did in Saudi. The guys I played with, you know, they went to Stanford. They got signed by the Yankees. They got signed by the Mariners. There are a few of my friends that, you know, they never made it to the big leagues, but they went pretty far. And I know that because we grew up in a bubble in Saudi Arabia, we put in the work, we always trained. And in Dubai, the problem is that there's so many activities, you know, so many sports, so many things going on that the kids sometimes lose focus of that. And I tell them, you just got to stay focused, put in the work. Baseball, you know how it is, Liam. It's all consistency and just getting the reps in and stuff. And with the older kids, it's just about staying focused, man. Like when I went to high school, you know, you're a kid, you're a teenager, and then you make some wrong decisions, and just never lose sight of what you really want, you know? And that's the biggest advice I can give them. It's like, yeah, it's cool now to do stuff with your friends, go on yacht parties and stuff, but you know, when you're 30 and you look back, you're like, man, I could have been a pro ball player, you know? And yeah, it's kind of just dealing with them and trying to help them figure out what they want to be, you know?
Well, Chris, you certainly are a great role model for these kids. I don't know if there's anyone better to kind of guide them into that next level of professional baseball and get them elevate their skills. Chris, I'm also sure that all these kids that you coach, I'm sure they're fired up to watch you compete on the very first UAE national team. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the significance of the formation of that national team. When you look at everything we've been able to accomplish here at Baseball United, that certainly is one of the things that will have huge implications on the game of baseball, especially in that region. What does it mean to you to be selected to that national team and be one of the first players to represent the UAE?
It's incredible. I got called by, it was John, I think, and then he was telling me about the whole UAE national team and everything. And I mean, me being from the region, you know, it's huge, man. It's like, because I'm South African, as you mentioned before, and now I grew up in this region, so to now represent this region as well it's incredible. And then I went with Kash and John to meet the Dubai Sports Council, the Shaikh, and yeah, it was just incredible. It's just an incredible experience to be along on this ride, you know.
How pivotal would you say Kash Sheikh's leadership has been in bringing to life this UAE team?
It's monumental. I mean, without Kash, this does not happen. You know, there's been baseball here for how many years? I mean, I've been in the region for 20 years. Nothing has ever been like close to this, you know. And now all of a sudden, Kash gets in here. There's a UAE national team. There's professional baseball players. there's, it's just unreal what he's doing, man. I can't thank him enough for what he's doing for baseball in the region,
We also need to mention that the UAE national team is going to be led by Hall of Fame manager Eddie Diaz. What do you have to say about that, and how important is it to have someone with the credentials of an Eddie Diaz to lead the first ever national team for the UAE?
Eddie Diaz, man. When I first played for Baseball United, I've never met him or anything like that before that. Obviously, he's a Hall of Fame manager, But what I can say about Eddie is that he's an even better guy, man. Like I've been in communication with him, for the past year, and anything you need on a personal level, he is the greatest guy I've met, man. He's just such a cool guy. But just to have him lead us for the UAE national team is huge. I mean, it's almost like a cheat code, I can say, because we get him. I feel bad for the other teams because he knows so much about baseball and he's been through so much in his career that, it's just awesome to have Eddie as our leader.
Chris, we have 9 national teams competing in the Baseball United Arab Classic coming up in less than a month now. We're less than a month out. How big is a tournament like this for all of these federations, not just the UAE team, but all of them?
It's huge. I mean, we've been talking about the build-up. I know the Saudi team is playing as well. I've been hearing from them how pumped they are. They're getting training sessions in. The Bangladesh guys, the Sri Lankan guy that played in the BU games as well. He's reached out to me, and everyone's just buzzing, man. Yunus from Palestine, one of my good friends. After meeting him in here in Dubai last year, he sent me a message already. He said, "We're coming for you, bro." So. It's gonna be a challenge. It's gonna be fun.
I get goosebumps just hearing you talk about the relationships that you've been able to make through Baseball United and through this game. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about this game is its ability to inspire, its ability to teach, and its ability to bring people together.
Yeah, man. I get goosebumps now that you said that, actually, because it is like that, man. Like all the guys that I met there, we almost have a different type of brotherhood that, I think it's almost the baseball community throughout the world. Like you just meet so many guys and especially the guys I think what Baseball United did, it's incredible because they brought I don't know how many guys it was together, 40 or 50 guys. And they handpicked these guys, right? Because they could have picked how many guys from the whole world that play baseball, but they picked these guys. And these guys were just the most awesome dudes that I've ever played with and met. You know what I mean? And it's like you said, it's just, I think every guy you talk to on here as well probably tells you the same thing. It's just amazing people,
You hit the nail on the head, Chris. Every single person I've had on this podcast has reiterated a similar sentiment in that everybody over there, all the players, beyond the players, honestly, the clubbies, the leadership group, the ownership group, every single person is bought in on this mission to grow this game. And it's so beautiful to see. You could feel it on the field last year. Everybody was just kind of chopping it up with each other. Everyone was trying to help each other. Didn't matter what team you were on. These prospects getting this opportunity to come play alongside guys like you, Pablo Sandoval, Robbie Cano, to have that opportunity in itself is massive. But to be able to go back to their country and take with them what they've learned from guys who have had such an incredible impact in this game is an unbelievable opportunity that I truly don't believe any other organization would afford them.
No, yeah. And I mean, thank you. I appreciate you for including me in that group. But hey, for me to learn from Pablo Sandoval, I mean, he took me under his wing, and Robinson Cano, I mean, dude, it's just a blessing, man. And I mean, for like you said, for everyone that was involved, it's not just the players, it's every single person that has to do with Baseball United is amazing. That's that's it.
Even as a professional baseball player like yourself, you having the opportunity, like you just mentioned, to learn from Pablo Sandoval, to learn from Didi Gregorius, Robbie Cano, whoever it may have been last year at last year's showcase. What did that opportunity mean to you to be able to learn from these guys?
So, dude, it's hard to put into words. I mean, honestly, you can imagine, these guys, I watched them growing up, Didi hitting grand slams in Yankee Stadium, Cano, smoothest second baseman of all time, Sandoval, 3 homers in the World Series. It's just, and to be on that field, I mean, I talk to my friends, I talk to my, colleagues, and they're just like, man, how did that feel to take ground balls with Didi, to take ground balls with Andrel Simmons, to take, it was just, I can't even put it into words, honestly. Like, I don't know what to say, Liam.
Right. In your wildest dreams, Chris, when you were growing up, did you ever picture yourself playing alongside guys like that?
No, and you know what? Especially because they were older than me, obviously. So, like, I was watching them when I was growing up. So, like, I was telling a friend that the only chance for me to have played with them ever is at this event because, they're obviously at the age past still playing in the bigs, some of them. Some of them still are there and around there, but you know what I mean? So it was like, this is the only way possible for me to have ever played with Didi Gregorius, who was one of my role models. Robinson Cano, one of my role models, It was to see them, like, man, I was sitting on the bus, like, one row behind him talking to him, like he's my boy, Like, it was just crazy.
I will say, I felt the same type of way out there because they were talking to all of us, everyone that was part of the content team, like they've known us for years. So I can only imagine how that translated into the locker room. It had to make everybody just feel so good, and that, like, everybody, no one had imposter syndrome over there, if you know what I mean. It didn't feel like everybody felt like they belonged and they should have been there.
Exactly. Yeah, and I mean, they did a good job of including everyone. I mean, obviously, there were, let's say, a handful or 10 really veteran guys that, if you think about it, they didn't have to be nice to everyone if they, you know how it is. And
right.
They just were more than open to, whatever you needed. I mean, like, again, I always tell this story about Pablo Sandoval, like, coming up to me in the elevator at breakfast, and he goes, bro, can I talk to you? Like, he asked me to talk, like, and I'm like, yeah, bro, no problem. Like, of course. And then he goes, yeah, like, I just want to help you out with, like, some things here and there with your swing, And I was like, thank you, I appreciate it. But, like, he came to me, and it's hard to put that into words, like, because it's not every day where an ex-big leaguer does that,
Absolutely. And I think that speaks, Chris, directly to our leadership's ability to bring these people together. Like you mentioned earlier, everyone was hand selected for a specific reason. One of those reasons being, outside of the type of baseball player they are, more importantly, the type of human being they are.
Yeah, and I think that's, for me in life, I mean, baseball is baseball and we love the game. But what's really impressive about what Kash and John and the rest of the Baseball United group have done is pick the right people, man. Like, all of the guys are incredible, and you met them, Liam. Like, I mean, there's not one guy that's not a good guy there, and that's, and how else can you promote like, you can't promote baseball better than that,
And I think also, Chris, on another end of this, our ownership group are filled with Hall of Famers, filled with all-stars. If I've said it once on this show, I've said it a million times. But I think that you really have to hammer that point home. Some of the greatest people to ever play this game are backing this league. And they're chosen to be owners the same way, for most of the same reasons the players are chosen to compete on the field, in that they're good human beings, in that they want to promote and grow this game.
Exactly. They just want everyone to play baseball all around the world, and and to grow the level of Major League Baseball, eventually.
Chris, when you look at this ownership group in this league and where we've gone in just a few years, where do you see it going in the future, and how confident does it make you that our league will thrive because of the ownership group we have with so much baseball experience?
Yeah, I mean, you see, like, the names that are involved here, and I mean, I think the whole world knows the names that are involved. It's gonna be nothing short of, like, I think at some point it will be kind of just as big as the leagues in the US or in Japan, because the money is here in Dubai, in the Middle East, you got the right guys setting this up, you got good guys involved, you got what we just talked about, and you got all of the best players in the world backing this, and going to be playing in this and getting involved in this. So it's impossible for this not to work. It's going to be huge. It's going to be the next big thing,
Right. And Chris, you can speak to this better than I can, but when you look at Dubai, this ultra modern city, this beautiful architecture, everything about the city screams like this is a great place to grow a sport.
Exactly. Dubai has been waiting for this. The Middle East has been waiting for this. You know, it's there for the taking. If you look at the other sports, like basketball starting to move in a little bit, you know, soccer obviously is a huge sport here. But honestly, baseball, like Kash and John and the BU team, what they're doing is like it's necessary. You know, it's necessary for the game to grow here, and it's just waiting for somebody to do it. You know, because like I told you, it has the money, it has the people, everyone wants it, everyone loves this group of players that are involved, and it's just so exciting, man. Like, don't you think? Like, it's just awesome.
I couldn't agree more. And I think one thing I really do want to kind of hone in on is the trajectory of our league over the last 3 years, thanks largely in part to Kash Sheikh's leadership. But I don't know, Chris, that there's anyone else in the world that would be able to accomplish what our league has accomplished in this amount of time other than Kash Sheikh.
Yeah, I mean, what he's done speaks for itself, you know? I mean, there was just sand here, you know, in the desert. And then out of nothing, you got, you know, you were at the games last year. It's just the biggest baseball event this side of the world almost in, you know, ever. And look at, like, it just, and now he's organizing, you know, the Arab Classic, all these countries to play against each other. I mean, it's incredible. It's without, I don't have words, you know.
Likewise, Chris, I love this sport. I'm not a player, but just to get a front row seat, to see everything that we've been doing and everything we've accomplished in such a short amount of time, it's just so incredible. And it makes me so happy for the game itself in the future of it, because I know the future of this game is certainly in good hands.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said before, I just want the best for the kids to come through the system, you know, and I think this is building it. This is going to build it from the grassroots level, you know, because there is really none of that. You know, there's a lot of parents helping out and the parents that are Americans and stuff like that, but there's nothing really here, you know, from like, there's no like real baseball here, and Kash is bringing that here, you know, and yeah, I'm just so happy for the kids growing up, because I wish I would have had that, you know?
Right. And I think the formation of the UAE national team is the beginning, like the first step in creating that development structure. What do you think about that?
For sure. I mean, now kids can dream about playing for the UAE national team, right? So you're putting them, like, you're giving them an immediate goal, you know? Even guys here that weren't selected for it, you know, guys that I know, guys that I play with, you know, they're working their asses off to make the team, you know, like, and it just shows you, like, especially for the kids, you know. Again, I hammer on the kids because that's the future, right? And it's like, I see them and they're like, Coach Chris, you're gonna play for the UAE national team, like, that's amazing, like, we're gonna come watch your game. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome, but really I want you to be there one day, you know, and if you work hard, you will, you know.
Dude, Chris, it must make you feel so good, man, when you hear these kids say they want to grow up to be like you and that they look up to you and model themselves after you.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong, it's awesome, man. But, you know, I just want the best for them, and you know, like I said, I just wish that, and I'm so happy for Kash and John to what they're doing, and, you know, giving these kids the opportunity to be at a high level one day, you know.
Chris, the first game for the UAE national team is going to be November 7th at 1 p.m. GST versus India. How fired up are you to take the field for the first time with the national team?
It's gonna be special, man. We've talked about it. The guys in the huddle, you know, we were talking about how it's gonna be to take the field for the first time. I mean, this first professional field that was built just for us, for our country. I mean, we're just blessed to be there, man. Like, we're so lucky that we are living here, you know, and playing baseball here, and you know, Baseball United just doing that for us. But yeah, I'm personally very excited to play for the UAE. I mean, it's a special accomplishment and achievement.
Chris, what do you have to tell the fans who are waiting to see you guys take the field in less than a month?
Hey guys, come out to the field. We're excited to play. We're excited to play in front of you, put on a show on the first baseball field in the Middle East, in the region. We're going to sign autographs. We're going to give out gifts. We're going to be signing balls. We're going to be throwing T-shirts into the crowd. We're excited to be there and play in front of you guys, man. Like that's what it's all about. It's for you guys, you know. It's not about us. It's about you guys.
And for the fans that want to get tickets, you can go right to Platinum List to get your tickets for any day. We're selling tickets in 2 sessions, morning sessions, evening sessions. So you get multiple games per session. And then the playoff round, it's going to be sold in 3 sessions, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the championship game. So head on over to Platinum List to get those tickets now. Chris, I can't thank you enough for joining me today, man. This has been great, and I'm looking forward to watching you compete in a little under a month, man.
Liam, thank you. See you in a few weeks, man.